Well, let's talk about what you're talking about.
We can have
Hold
more
on a
line
second.
Welcome to Lunch Hour Legal Marketing, teaching you how to promote.
Well, we don't think that we're going to be doing theme music.
Welcome to Lunch Hour Legal Marketing, teaching you how to promote, market, and make fat stacks for your legal practice. Here on Legal Talk Network.
Conrad, welcome to Office Hours at Lunch Hour Legal Marketing. We are broadcasting live from somewhere in Texas.
Yeehaw.
Because you
You
have
like
your
what we got? That
beautifully branded Mockingbird cowboy hat on. And we are in San Antonio at Hilma's Super Summit.
well, we've been talking about brand a lot, and the opportunity to brand my brand on a hat, like I couldn't pass it up. Are you gonna get a hat?
I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, how can I not get a hat?
No,
And
we look awkward now. Now I look like a poser. If we both had hats, we would
Well,
look like a posse.
you had the first hat, so we'll give you credit for being the hat innovator here. But beautiful hat. And we apologize for folks if this is a little choppy. We're on conference internet.
Conference
We always know how
internet,
conference internet
the worst thing you could possibly put your brand on is conference internet when it goes down, because
Yes.
everyone blames you. And
Everybody
it's not your fault.
sends emails to support at whatever company
Yeah,
you're at.
no,
So you're speaking at Pilma. So why don't we start with our first question for today? Is what are you talking about today at Pilma?
I'm doing a 2-hour talk in 30 minutes on the marketing blueprint for a 8-figure firm.
Nice.
And I've taken all of the data and all of the channels and all the campaigns that all of my clients are using who fit into that 8-figure firm perspective, put budgets behind it, put budgets behind staff, like how much should we be paying for a CMO, and tried to lay out, if you were a $12 million firm, this is how I would spend, in this case, 29% of your revenue on growth.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What percentage, off the top of your head, firms that call Mockingbird,
Yeah.
what percentage are coming in already expecting to be spending 30% of their top line revenue on marketing?
I don't know the answer to
Okay.
that question.
Does it seem like it's probably as high?
Well, so I think the reason I can't answer that question is because we see a portion of their world.
Right.
It doesn't, nothing we see is offline.
Right.
So, and offline, by the way, offline should be a part of this game.
I was going to say they should be sharing their offline with you.
Well, so it depends on the firm. Okay. It really depends on where you are in market domination.
Right.
And I'm very simplistically going to break people into 3 buckets. You have the top 3 in your market. That is, if you're dominating your market, you are top 3. It's not 1 or 2. Like, there are 3 market dominators, which is kind of semantically confusing, but like that's just how it works. And then you have 4 through 8, 5 to 10 kind of thing. Those people actually have to run harder because they're trying to catch up, right? And so that, if you're trying to get to that top 3 and you don't have the established brand, you have to actually spend more on it, right? You're also smaller, right? And so you're going to eat up. Matt Dubin spoke earlier today, and he's like, I'm obsessed with growth. Right? We sat next to each other on the plane. Poor Matt had to sit next to me on the plane on the way out. But he's like, I have this kind of pathological obsession with growth, and he puts everything he can back in, right?
Did he share?
I did not ask. That's
Okay.
kind of like asking, like,
Yeah.
like how tall are you, or what's your IQ?
Well, I
It's
feel like
it's an awkward question.
I feel like as a percentage, I think that's why we keep coming back to this percentage thing, because as a percentage of top line fees, it's it's more comfortable to ask that way because you're not asking raw dollars. You know, are you in the 5%?
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm genteel.
Well, I want to take it back. I'm going to use your framing. So you got the top three.
Top three.
Top three, you're probably in the 20 to 30%.
20 to 30%. If you are 3 through 8 trying to break into top three, you are at 30%. Now, I don't know how many of our clients think that way, but I've really tried to build our motif. Most of the clients that we work with fall into that 3 through 8, 4 through 8, that I'm trying to get into that top.
Got it.
And that requires, to do this right, and I'm right about this, this is not just theory, that requires an omni-channel approach. Rising tide lifts all boats. We've talked about this ad nauseum. It requires a long-term perspective. It requires an understanding of the difference between direct response and brand awareness. All of those things.
You know, it's made me think too. I was very grateful. You invited me to join you at Brenner's last night. Very generous hosting some of your friends.
Good steaks.
And some of the friends were from law firm CMO.
Yep.
Really smart guys. I thought my impression of some of our conversations. But one of the things that they put to us, it might be a good question.
I love this.
Well, I don't know if I'm thinking of the same question that you are, but one of the questions that they put to us was, you know, what are the things? So one of the things that they do is they try to help law firms identify good partners from an agency perspective, and to hold their clients' agency partner accountable, right? Like this is like that's part of the fractional law firm CMOs thing. So I'm gonna ask the question kind of both ways. And if you're following along and watching, feel free to drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you. I'm gonna ask it both ways. First, from the agency owner perspective, what would you recommend lawyers look for in choosing a fractional law firm CMO partner?
Okay, this is gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way.
Okay.
I think you need to bring a gun to the knife fight. Most of you, many of you, fall into this trap. I'm going to let this marketing person grow with the law firm. And that poor marketing person is stuck in a silo. They have limited exposure to other ideas, other metrics, other technologies. And so they're kind of in a really, really bad place because you're expecting them to grow with the law firm. They're responsible for the law firm's growth. And yet, what are they going to learn? It's almost like there should be a summit specifically for in-house marketing people. Just saying, that would be a really good idea. But you're hiring someone who's fundamentally underqualified to do the job that you want them to get to. And you're betting on their ability to get to that level. And you're not supporting them in getting to that level. That's stupid. Let me give a different example. I'm going to bring in someone who has run a $20 million direct-to-consumer service-based business. Ophthalmology. I met an ophthalmology person yesterday. They've been working ophthalmology for the largest ophthalmology chain in Texas.
Sounds like relevant experience.
Relevant experience, but not legal. And bigger, it is the gun to the knife fight. That person is going to be amazing because they're going to have a different perspective. They're going to bring new things, but they've already run a big firm. They've already run multi-office. They've already done this. This mentality of bringing, and this is why I like this Stuart Foster, like this is why I like these guys. They've come from different industries. They've run bigger things. He was talking about brands yesterday that we've all known and worked with. Like that is so much more valuable than hiring, Jared, who you gave the social media campaign to because he was under 30.
Yeah. And, the other thing that I think is, because we were talking about like how they, who their ideal client persona kind of looks like. And I wanted to explore that a little bit because, for our listeners, you're a solo small firm lawyer. You probably don't have the revenue to support a full-time CMO. And I think we talked about this on a recent episode.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what threshold that you suggested, but we can get into that. What's the window where you're big enough that you need a fractional CMO? Because again, I'm like, I think there is a threshold. I think that at some point you're in do-it-yourself mode for a lot of this stuff, and you can't have 50% of your revenue going out the window to a fractional CMO. I just don't think.
No.
So there's some window. Let's talk about that window. What's it look like where you're in the window of fractional CMO versus I'm going to hire a full-time CMO?
So I don't think it's a revenue number.
Okay, great.
I think it is a complexity of channels number.
Okay.
There are a lot of small firms that, and I think this is dangerous, but this is a reality, that rely on a marketing channel. We're going to nail social. We're really good at with LSAs. We've been doing great in the centipede strategy with local. Whatever that might be, there are a bunch of firms that live in that world. And you can have someone who's really good at those things, right? Someone who's really good at getting reviews, someone who's really good at managing your content, someone who's really good at running pay-per-click, right? And you can have that individual awesomeness. The problem with that is when technology or competitors shuffle the deck and shake the scorpion jar, now you have a problem. That is a strategic problem. And it is important to expand beyond reliance on one or two different marketing channels. It's also, you have to understand the tactical expertise to run pay-per-click and LSAs and SEO and AI and buy TV ads really well and do targeting through CRM-based stuff or programmatic work. The mentality, you cannot have that. It's not a unicorn. It's not a thing.
But all those, like, to me, all those things you just said, the fractional CMOs and CMOs, they're not running that stuff anymore.
They shouldn't, right? So my point is, it's the complexity of channels. It's the number of channels that become important that actually have an impact on whether or not you should be bringing on a CMO or not. Because no offense, dear law firm owner, you don't have the capacity and frankly capability to understand how to even manage 8 different marketing channels.
Yeah,
and that's what you're looking at.
And I hear your point. I think some of the complexity is, though, tied to size. I think that look, we've been jumping up and down about diversification of marketing channels, and we'll continue to do that. The reality on the ground, though, is that if you're a small firm doing it yourself, there are things that are going to, let's just say video. So you can record yourself, you can dice videos up, you can post an image and video on social. You probably can, even though you might have to spend, you can probably set up LSAs, some of that basic stuff. No, you don't need a fractional CMO or a CMO for that kind of stuff. Then you get into this next level, this next tier, and again, I'm framing it in growth. I know you're framing it in complexity, but those two things to me are like related, because as you grow, you start to add more channels to your mix thing, and then you start maybe you're hiring experts, maybe you're hiring an agency or a fractional CMO. But it does, to me, it's still essentially at some point it's tied to growth, because again, you're looking at your P&L. You're like, I'm getting this much money in.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going to deploy marketing resources, and until you have a sufficient, amount of fees to justify
100%.
the hiring, because every dollar you spend on a marketing leadership role is a dollar. It's not going to media, it's not going to networking,
right?
It's not going to whatever all the other things you might do. And so, I don't know what the right answer is for that. It seems to me it still has to be some function of a percentage of your top line revenue, but I don't,
What for that salary?
Well, the salary or the whatever you're paying the fractional CMO, because you don't call that salary necessarily.
Yeah. How much? We don't know how much these fractional CMOs make, do we?
Well, we do, but it's all over the map.
So it is all over the map.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we hit that one pretty hard. The other one that Stuart flipped back on us was, and I think we've talked about this, but it's top of mind because we're here at Omaha, and I think a lot of these. So one observation that you made, and I don't think this is a secret, there are a lot of our worthy rivals here at Omaha, right?
And by worthy rivals, do you mean low-end scum-sucking, lying marketing people? When you say worthy rivals, that's what I put in my head. It's like an auto replace.
There are other marketing companies here that range in delivery and services, and we got the AI folks are here, right?
Everyone's AI. So interesting for those of you not at Pilma. Mm-hmm. This is like all conferences, AI heavy, AI first.
I mean, I took a picture. I can't share it, but the first thing you walk in, the 3 major sponsors It's all AI.
Yeah. Well, and I think we need to break out, like when we make fun of AI, I think we need to break out. There's AI marketing, and then there's AI execution, tactical running the firm.
But those are, you know, what's funny? They're starting to bleed. They're starting to bleed because they're like, well, so take intake for example.
Yeah.
Is intake an operations function or a marketing function?
Yes.
Right. Exactly. Correct, Conrad.
Yes.
That's why we do this. And so that's the point, though. They're both, and so you can't really. Can you really separate them?
I mean, there's a bleed over, right? But intake is a marketing function, especially when it comes to LSAs. That's kind of a
and out of the three that are out there, or some that are floating around, several of them are in the boat. Oh, quick interruption here. Are we getting shut down?
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
Public service announcement?
Yeah, a little public service announcment. So
we're live.
We're live.
Don't get anybody in trouble.
So I won't get anyone in trouble. But that was the MC.
Okay.
Ron, good guy.
Okay.
I don't think you know Ron.
Great.
But great guy. One of the speakers, the first lawyer who spoke, basically said, "Hey, vendors, back the fuck off. You're too aggressive. You're too obnoxious." And I don't know if you got this, but this is a great reason to hate on AI. The amount of AI contacts that I got because I was attending this, to multiple phone numbers for me, my personal email address. People are violating canned spam like crazy with AI. You get this list of people who are attending Kilma. You violate the crap out of canned spam, guess at email addresses, and yeah. So
John Henson will remain in business for
John
a long
Henson has
time.
a good business model.
Talk to John Henson about your compliance.
No, but like
issues.
it's the aggressiveness of the vendors here has been off-putting.
And again,
that's what Ron wanted to mention to me.
And I don't want. Okay, interesting. And I don't want to. This isn't limited to Pilma. I think this is largely a function of. I keep using this phrase. The knives are coming out. Because these companies, there's so much money being poured in, and the expectations, like the cycle of maturity in the money that's coming in, they're like, you got to hit some numbers. And so, how's that trickle down through the organization?
Right. This is SDRs just going mad, right? It's SDRs being desperate to show value, and the application of AI to harvesting of email addresses, etc. Because I will tell you this: Pilma did not give email addresses out, and they did not give phone numbers out, and we've been inundated by vendors who should know better.
And again, I think that's
sorry.
Look, it's part. It's part of the story. It's part of the story. My big thing is I walk around the booths, and again, not limited to Pilma. But I try to put myself in the lawyer's shoes, and I think this goes to what's the second question that Stuart brought up is it's like, a lot of these lawyers, like, they don't even know how to start the vetting process, right? So you're walking down the aisle
For a CMO?
No, I was going to flip it on its head to the agencies.
Oh,
well, not even the agencies, the vendors, right? Because again, is an AI mostly media management company? Is that an agency? I guess. Is it if you have a widget that you put that does all the publishing on your website that's AI driven title tags and all that kind of stuff? It's not an agency, right? It sounds like a plugin.
It's well, what I'm hoping is that you end up with a lot of different. I think.
Michael, do you have a question for us? You want to ask a question? We're recording right now.
You want to ask a question?
Yeah, tell me about. I didn't understand you guys do.
Ask. Do you have a marketing question that's been on your mind?
Yes.
Yes.
What about advertising on YouTube videos? Not YouTube TV, but all the little short YouTube video forms.
Great question.
Go ahead. Restate the question.
We're so good at this.
Restate the question.
To restate the question from Michael Ponce, how should we be thinking about advertising on YouTube?
Yeah. Well, and again, my big thing with this is, so number one, I think YouTube should be close to the top of your priority list in your digital mix.
Okay. But for advertising,
Yeah.
not just content development.
Yeah, well, for both. But
Okay.
let's focus specifically on advertising.
Okay.
I think it's a high priority, and the other thing that I would say with this goes into the contextual stuff with omnichannel, because again, like at a minimum, you should be retargeting on YouTube.
Okay. So this is my answer for all things digital, and it is why I believe for the market people who are 4 through 8, you start with digital, you don't start with offline.
Exactly.
The targeting that you can get,
Exactly.
and this is the right answer, Michael. The targeting that you can get out of digital is so much unbelievably stronger than you can get in offline.
Right.
And so what you want to do is blanket those people, a small portion of the market, with brand affinity, ideally brand awareness at the worst, advertising. Now, does that include YouTube? 100% absolutely should include YouTube. But the other part of this that we tend to forget is that content in and of itself does not get distribution.
That's right.
We like to pretend it gets distribution.
Very small distribution.
But it doesn't.
Organic distribution,
it's lovely.
Reach apocalypse.
Good for us.
Go reach apocalypse.
All these awful marketing vendors will show you a case study of where they've been able to go viral. And you guys think that's what the objective is. That's not the fucking game. It's not the game. The game is to get as much reach consistently as you possibly can with a targeted group.
Right.
And that is not done through cross my fingers, hope we go viral, have a huge follower count. That's not how the game is played. The game is played by taking really good content, have a really, really targeted audience. YouTube's a great example of this, and put that content in front of that audience. Now, the key here is that is a higher CPM. You're going to pay more for good targeting. What you end up with is less impressions, less reach, right? But you have really targeted to people who actually want to buy from you. And that is the goal. And what most agencies do is they flip that backwards in their head. We're going to buy as much reach as we possibly
because
can.
they're reporting on CPM.
That's right.
Right.
They're reporting on reach.
Reach and CPM.
Right. And so reach and CPM, the lower the CPM, the lower the target it is, but the bigger the reach. So you end up reaching a whole bunch of people who don't care about you, right? And that's the mistake.
Yeah.
And so and that happens in pay-per-click. It happens in YouTube advertising. It happens in display advertising. It happens. So it's just a wasted money. If you are top 3 in your market, and everyone knows who you are, and you have that brand awareness of the everyone, maybe going for impressions is actually the right way to do it.
Yeah,
maybe
right. They don't care about it.
They don't
They're
care.
just like maximize.
But if you are number 5, you are going to lose and get diluted by all the other brands out there. And what you want is that cadre of people that know you and like you, and that's the way to win the game.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this, but everybody seems to be like the hotness right now. Because again, I think everybody's to the point. They're like, everybody's very, especially in personal injury, everybody is very focused on the cost per acquisition of clients is being driven up by a variety of factors, whether it's national advertisers, whether it's consolidation of law firms, whether it's MSOs and private equity. And so people are like, what should we do? Should we go and try to go and compete and spend on them? And so there's a conflation of, you can build brand through digital. And it's not, people keep thinking like, oh, brand means expensive TV, radio, offline media buys.
And broad and everywhere.
This
is totally wrong. And you want to go see someone who's done this really well? Go look at Top Dog. Their brand awareness, very low. For their target, their brand awareness outperforms everyone, and their brand affinity crushes everyone. That's the game.
Well, they do a lot of offline media buying too.
But even their offline stuff, their radio is targeted to their audience.
Yeah, 100%.
Their billboards are placed deliberately.
Yeah,
right?
that
So
context,
there's all sorts of targeting that you can do, both offline and online, that supports this concept of not boiling the ocean.
And again, that's to me, that concept that we just described is kind of like, that's the 101 concept.
But no one's doing it.
I know.
We don't get it.
But the real, to me, when you, the other lever to pull here is that when you combine these different channels to work together. So when you've got first opted in email list, and now you're doing specific media for that list, and maybe, so here's the most obvious one, former clients. When former clients are getting your messaging, and your message is, we're so grateful to all of our former clients. If whatever your message is going to be, but it speaks to that specific audience. When you see the impact of that on engagement, and then also just like when you're like, you see your referral numbers going up, like marketing to your referral sources, it's unbelievable because again, you're giving them contextual message across channel versus everybody's getting the same.
That's right.
We fight hard, free consultation, because now you got blindness. You're doing the same thing everybody else is, and it's out of context because they're not even in the market.
And you cannot build brand affinity with generic messaging, period. And that's the miss.
That's right. What else? Any other questions here? I know we're kind of coming up on the half hour. Anything else that strikes you about being here at Pelma? How many Pelmas is this for you? Many. You're a veteran.
I'm easy double digits.
Okay.
Easy double digits.
You know, and I.
This is your first.
This is my first time here.
That's shocking.
Yeah, it is kind of shocking. You know, grateful to be. I've never been invited to speak, so.
You won't be invited to speak.
Why not? I'm on the blacklist.
No, you're not blacklisted.
Well,
you're invited to pay for a sponsorship that includes a speaking opportunity.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm having a great time here. Great experience. There are a lot of sharp people here. I think there are a lot of forward-thinking lawyers. You know, I think that maybe again because you have more experience with it, you can feel free to chime in. But so some conferences we go to, and people are really in the like beginning learning stages. It seems to me that the audience here is much more forward thinking in terms of marketing and advertising, at least.
My generic perspective is these are people on their way to a 8-figure firm.
Yeah,
that's that.
Which is why all the vendors are here.
This
target rich environment.
It is. Oh yeah. It's been a little over the top.
I don't want people to come away with thinking that we're just saying that that's Pelma specifically. I've sensed that at a lot of other conferences. And again, I think some of it is the dynamic of the big money coming in. And it's funny because, you know, it correlates so closely to what's going on in legal, right? The money comes in.
Yeah.
You get more vendors, you got more aggressive advertising, and the same is true in legal. And again, people say, how do you compete in that environment in legal? And I'm like, you don't. Double down on your local community, double down on the people who know, like you, trust you, double down on the you know, we played the near media user, which by the way, the near media user recording sessions, I've gotten tons of feedback about that. I think we should do some more of that.
By the way, looking good, guy. Thank you, David Arado. I hope we are coming through audio just fine. If you could give us a heads up on that, that'd be great. Because we've got new audio hardware. The other thing is like, be worthy of know, like, and trust.
Right. Right.
That's it. That's the key thing that's often overlooked.
Yeah. I think the recognition stuff has really been it's top of mind for people, and that to me is the place where you compete. Because to your point, like unless you're going to go out and say like, hey, we're going to go try to spend all this money to beat one of those top three, you know, it also brings me all the way back to the beginning, which is like, and I think we were talking to some lawyers last night about this, but you can, you know, this came up in the best era of things. Maybe it's top of mind for me, but you can run a very successful law practice without being in the top three, like 4 through 8.
Yeah.
They're still looking, it's a very solid, healthy business. And in fact, I would say some of those top three in some markets aren't as healthy when you really peel back the onion as they might look on the billboard.
It depends on what you are. That sounds like some insider knowledge there, Gyi.
Yeah, it's the same insider knowledge you have as well. So I know what you're talking about.
I just think it depends on what your success metric is, right? Like,
yeah, right. What are you trying to build?
There is value in being top three, regardless of margin, right?
Yeah, I think some of the messages, and you know, consultants are guilty of it. You know, the growth hackers and 10x your law firm and all these Facebook ads and all this stuff that we see. They make it there's an implication that you are a loser if you're not 10xing your law firm. And I'll tell you, there are plenty of people that are like pouring a lot of money into trying to 10x, and they're not 10xing. They're doing a 10x spend, but not 10x growth.
That hurts.
So we'll leave it at that. Oh, Jessica, thanks for chiming in. Audio sounds great, and your hat looks even better.
Why, thank you.
Beautiful hat. I'm jealous. Everybody's jealous of that. How do you get this hat? You have to.
This is great. So downstairs at the in the lobby. So we'll talk about this because I think this is actually a really interesting opportunity. Not that I'm recommending you send low-end cowboy hats to your clients.
That's what's going to happen. You created a craze now.
Well, so
cowboy hats.
But this is cool. So the part of this that you need to see is the logo. That was done digitally, right? With a I don't know what it's called. It's basically a brand, a laser brand. You just uploaded the logo with a invisible background, and they were able to burn the logo, brand the brand onto the branded hat.
Yes.
But like we talk about this a lot. I've not done this, but I would like. Do you know Glowforge?
No.
Okay. There's an opportunity, and I don't know how much this little laser thing costs, but there's an opportunity. We always talk about stop sending people your brand, start sending them their stuff. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you can do this. You can do these one-offs. If I had 1,000 of these hats, I could find all of my clients, put their individual brand on their hat. We could do that for Lunch Hour Legal Marketing Summit. We can find all the people that are coming in, send them a hat with their brand on the hat. Now that would be cool.
That was really generous of you.
That was very generous.
Sponsored by Mockingbird
It's
Marketing.
Sponsored by Mockingbird Marketing. And as of right now, the tickets for Lunch Hour Legal Marketing Summit have just gone up by $200.
Yes, $200 increase for hats.
But it would be fun to be able to do something like that where you're able to put their logo on something. And we've done this. I've done this with tile keys, the Find Your Key thing. So I've done it with that. I just like sending stuff onto a client or a prospect. It's got their stuff because they're not gonna throw this out. If I send you a Mockingbird Marketing branded cowboy hat, you're not wearing it.
I will.
Even you won't.
I'll wear it.
No, you won't.
I will wear it.
I would.
Send me the hat.
You are so brand centric that you would be like, yeah.
I think it's a cool hat. So I'm not gonna get a hat, but I'm probably gonna get it. I don't know. And now I'm torn because I'm like, do I get a Attorney Sync logo, Lunch Hour Legal Marketing logo?
See, I think with a brand, you could put all sorts of things on there.
That's true. And finally, as we're running out of time here, because you got to speak in about.
Yeah, I got to speak. I got to make sure they've got my updated slides.
Yes, I just want to give a quick thank you. I posted this on LinkedIn too, but I met Will Clark last night. He's an attorney in San Antonio, and we were at DeLisi Friday, and Ryan McKean hosted a nice little happy hour. So thank you to give them a shout for hosting that.
Except Ryan wasn't there.
Ryan didn't make it, but he's still, well, we don't know. Maybe it's just a DeLisi event. Maybe it's just a First Call Friday event. Check out First Call Friday. If you don't get if you don't hear Ryan, you don't get the credit, I guess, but you get the name recognition. But anyway, Matt Will, he's a listener of the show. And I just want to say thank you to him and thank you to all the listeners because it is so cool to meet in person. And it's another reason I think, obviously it's self-interested to say, hey, it's cool that we get to meet listeners of the show. But it's one of the reasons I think to still come to these shows because those connections, right? Like seeing people doing the intro, doing the networking thing, seeing whether it's lawyers making new referrals or meeting a new partner, someone that can help you grow your firm. It's just different to meet the person in real life than it is to connect with them via Zoom. And so I encourage people to continue to do that. And again, if you buy into this thesis that it's local, it's relationships and reputation, in person's a big piece of that. So get off of your cameras, get out of your offices and go meet people. But thanks to those folks. Thanks to all the listeners. And thanks to you, Conrad, because we're having a great time doing Lunch Hour Legal Marketing. And with that, Conrad's got to go. Check out Pilma next time.
And meet us here. We'll even buy you dinner.
And hope to see you in Nashville.